It's 1977 and we are aspiring musicians.
We're gonna rock. We're gonna rock hard.
Hi, I'm Libby, this is Julian, and together we are BoxedMeeples, and we've been playing Rock Hard 1977, and we've got 5 reasons why it's awesome.
Now, Rock Hard 1977 was designed by Jackie Fox, who was the bassist for the Runaways, so she knows a thing or two about rocking out in 1977. Not only that, but she is actually quite a smart woman. She was a winner on Jeopardy, and she knows one or two things about board games. So those two things fused together set the stage for a really epic event. Now, throughout Rock Hard 1977, it is absolutely dripping with theme. Everything down from the character art to the events the character experience throughout their journey, from starting off just as a lowly worker, doing the 9 to 5. But a 9 to 5 of a dream.
A 9 to 5 with a dream, indeed, yes. You're literally spending your working time going out daytime, midday, gigs, hangouts after gigs. Are you going to practice in a recording studio? Are you going to play on the big stages, the small gigs? Are you going to go and try and find publicists? Can you get a record deal? And that's super important in this game. And all those different actions really sort of emulate the road of getting some roadies even that you might take as an aspiring musician.
Now, if you've seen the film Almost Famous, I think that really does encapsulate what's going on in here. Your small-time gigs up to massive stadium events. You're going to experience it all as you take the journey through Rock Hard 1977.
As we've come to expect from Devir, the production in this game is epic. The first time I saw this game was at Essen last year, and there was just some few little bits and bobs in a glass cabinet, not really any information other than it's a game about rock music. And that you could see these little dials on the player boards. And the first thing that anyone asked me when they said anything about this game is, do the dials go to 11? And of course
they do.
Of course they do. In fact, getting to them to 11 is often seen in some of the goals in the games. And having those dials on your player board is fantastic to track the number of songs you've done, your chops, all those kind of values. There's some switches there for your sugar highs. The acrylic standees are fantastic, and they've got great artwork that marries in with all the player boards and everything on those. So I just think, as per usual, this game looks fantastic. Now, there is one thing that I think some people initially would think, ooh, bold move, and that's that this game has got paper money.
But it's really good paper money.
It is very good paper money, but historically people would have said, oh, that's the thing of games gone by, and we all have metal coins now, and we don't like paper money. But this is epic, and I think it works really well with the theme. It's all graffitied in different ways. Some of them got doodles of like rock on them and lightning strikes, and really goes in with the theme. And I think it works well when you go out and you're getting paid either for your gigs or for your sort of waitressing or menial tasks that you're doing for your jobs. You're getting that kind of wodge of cash dished out, and it really adds into the theme of this. So every little detail is touched, of course.
There's something so satisfying about getting that amount of cash after a gig, literally getting cash in hand and knowing that you're never even going to tell the tax man about it, because you're just going to keep on rocking. Now, when you think about rockers in the 70s, I'm sure you'll think about one thing. Sugar.
Yeah.
They loved sugar. Couldn't get enough of the sugar. Of course, I mean sweets. I mean candy. That's what...
There was a song.
Yeah.
I want candy.
Because there was so much candy consumption going on in the 70s rock era. And sugar plays a key part in Rock Hard 1977. And it's really clever how it ties both into the theme and actually works in a new, interesting mechanic, because I've not seen a worker placement game, which is essentially what this is at its very core, with a kind of push your luck mechanism before. Certainly not in this way. Now, throughout the game, you take sugar, you take sweets, You pop a little bit of candy in your mouth and you get to do a little bit more actions. Every time you do, you get to take a card which will tell you whether you get to do 2 extra actions, 1 extra actions, or no extra actions with that.
Sugar-free candy.
Yeah, that annoying sugar-free candy. Just doesn't hit the same spots. Doesn't give you that sugary high that you like. But having those extra actions are useful. You can do more things on your turn.
Yeah, there's a few things you can't do. So you can't be at 2 gigs at the same time. You can't go to work and gig at the same time.
Yeah, going to work after too much sugar is not the best plan. But being able to have those extra actions is useful. You can get more done, which allows you to then, on later turns, be able to achieve goals quicker and also get a leg up ahead of your competition.
Maybe you want more candy.
But yeah, the more candy you take, the more dangerous it becomes, because every time you pop a bit of candy, you have to roll a dice.
You do.
And you have to roll a higher number than the amount of candy you've taken. Of course, the first bit of candy, that's all fine. Nothing's going to go wrong there. Not a problem.
You can take it or leave it, this candy.
It's fine. But when you start taking the second candy, the risk sets in. And imagine how risky it is when you're taking 4 or 5 candies and you start rolling that dice and need to get that higher number.
You might have to go to rehab.
Yeah.
I mean, that's going to set off your whole of your next day. You're going to not be able to do a morning action because you're just laid out at rehab.
You're in sugar rehab. What's even great about this, though, is you're not recovered. You've done a little bit of recovery, but you're not completely off the sugar.
No, you have put yourself in a better position.
But you've had so much candy over your rock and roll career that you're not completely recovered. You're just a little bit better. So then do you start going, okay, well, maybe I'll have a bit more sugar. I'll risk it again. Or do you go, okay, I've learned my lesson now. I've done what I need to do with the sugary bonuses. And now I'm going to just be a clean living life. And I think it's really brilliant that the game incorporates this within the theme. It seems obviously thematic and obviously child friendly. But it also does give an interesting risk and reward system.
Yeah, and certainly certain characters lean towards wanting to take the candy more often, or how their sort of risk reward system is sort of adjusted slightly depending on their characteristics. So each time you play, you might want to take sugar more or less depending on all of those situations. Yeah. And it's not just how much candy we like or don't like that changes the characters in this game. I mean, it's almost slightly asymmetrical by the time you've built everything together that everyone's looking for. So every character has a special ability or way they react to a certain situation that you have to keep in mind that might give you a way to behave or act each round. There's also a manager which will do something similar. So it might be a case of if you and when you take candy, or it might just be every morning you can do such and such. Depending on the managers, they'll all change. So everyone's working slightly differently, but it's not just your character and your manager. You also have personal goals, which of course are going to differ for every player. And these are alongside the global goals, which are all aiming for different ones every game.
And that's a first come, first served basis. You've got to work out how quickly do I go for those.
Yes, you would do. And you also have the job roles, and they could vary between the players as well. So, for example, you might be a law clerk and you can choose to go to work or do morning actions, because the morning is when you work. And there's other players and jobs who might have shift work, for example, like a waitress. And then at the beginning of every round, every day, you're rolling the dice, working out what time your shift is. Is it in the morning? Is it late at night after all the gigs? And then you're going to miss out on hangouts in order to go to work. And of course, the whole game, the idea is to quit the job and become a pro musician. So you could not turn up to work a few times to sort of be able to do what you need to do as a musician. That's how life is. But if you don't turn up 3 times, you're going to get given the boot. Or, you can just choose to quit at any time. And of course, you want to make sure that you've got certain things going on. You've got a record deal maybe so that you can perform at different places and get money coming in different ways. And it's how quickly different players around the table manage to get all of those actions and different things going on, those personal goals that you've got, your player action, your manager action, how you're working your job, and who gets to quit the job first and become a musician is fun in this game.
I've often found with kind of worker placement games, at least the worst kind of worker placement games, is you kind of fall into a pattern of knowing what you need to do when, where you need to go. There's so many variables in Rock Hard 1977 that no game kind of feels the same. Everyone feels kind of fresh and different. That's driven essentially by the event cards, where at the beginning of each turn you'll be told, well, this turn you can't even go to that place. No one can go out in the evening because there's a complete lockdown. Maybe someone wants to have a bit of free candy. Why not?
And it's not just the events, there's also gigs that come up that are different ones, and they're stacked throughout the game. So there's a deck of cards which will pick sort of 3 for each section, and so as you work through them they become different, which I think really helps the game because you don't have something too ridiculous that you'd never be able to do too early on. But they're really mixing things up, and I think sometimes an amazing gig comes up on this, and you do want to go to a millionaire's yacht and do a private gig for him because you're going to earn a lot of money, and that would be really helpful. You can buy a lot of candy with a lot of money.
They might even give you a load of candy.
They might.
Although, to be honest, at the beginning of the game, you don't necessarily want to go to someone's bar mitzvah to kind of put on a rocking show. Not quite the
not
look.
So good. Not so
not
good.
the look you want.
But it really does mix things up in terms of what you think you were going to do at the beginning of the round, and then the event comes out and does something different. An extra gig comes out, and you think, oh, actually, I might change my entire plan this round and do something completely different. And I really appreciate that.
And even the after hours events, you're drawing cards that tell you what's happening, all very thematic, but they'll be beneficial to certain characters more than other, depending on their gender or their orientation or even their unique skills. So each time those come up, you don't quite know what's going to happen when you go there. Certain places are going to be more likely to give you certain skills or certain attributes, but it's not guaranteed. And it may not even pay off for the character you're currently playing as. I love all these different things. So when you look across the board, there's lots of things that's beneficial for you to do, but there's always temptation elsewhere where you think, well, yes, that might be beneficial to me for the end game, but right now that's going to give me a leg up. Eventually you're going to want to record your demo tape. The sooner you do that, the sooner you'll get a record contract, which means you can start doing your gigs. And if you don't do that quick enough, well, you're not going to get a chance to, by the end of it, do your big stadiums. But the whole time you're doing that, maybe you're not going to work, and then you're not got the flow of income coming.
Yeah, I certainly didn't go to work as much when it was in the evening. I was missing out on those hangouts because I wanted to make the sort of set collection with those. I wanted to have that extra power and those choices of what to do, and I really love how thematic they are, and they really dive into that theme and give you these choices. Oh, you've met this stranger, and do you go and have an after gig date with them or do you not? Like, there's so many different things in there that they're doing, and they're also giving you first player for the next round as well, depending on if you dive in on that.
Can't just go to bed early sometimes. Guaranteed first access to all the places you need to go. And obviously where you are, other people can't go. So if you do need to record that, you need to get your technicians, or you need to get that radio interview, and other people do as well. Getting there first and having an early night might be beneficial.
Sometimes it's important to be the headliner.
Really
no one wants to be the warm-up act.
No one does.
Want to be the headliner.
You want to rock out as much as you can.
Exactly.
Now, as you can probably guess, we thoroughly enjoyed our time playing Rock Hard 1977. It looks fantastic on the table, and this is still a prototype, which means that when it comes to retail, it could look even better still, and there could be even more characters in here, even more events, just keep things fresh and diverse each time you're playing it.
Indeed, yes, it has been fantastic. And of course, if you have enjoyed our 5 reasons, we would love it if you would subscribe to our channel and hear more about our board game journey. And we would also love if you would comment, have you got any fun gig stories? Have you played Rock Hard? What do you think about it? Anything that you've got to say about the rocking life?
And of course, if you want to pre-order Rock Hard or buy it if it's been released, good place to go is your friendly local game store. And for us in the southeast of England, that is of course Chaos Cards. And have a look in the description, because there's a little discount code you can use to save yourself some money at the checkout, maybe to spend on sweets perhaps.